I need a bigger bag next time.
Welcome back. And this is going to be my final thoughts on Cipher. I'm sorry, let me just mute her a little bit because I don't want her to be like just zooming all over the place every single day. After playing her with every single possible team, testing on every single endgame content, playing with every single possible DPS, Super Break Cipher, Hyper Carry Cipher, Break DPS Cipher, Dual DPS Cipher, Sustain Cipher, every possible Cipher, this is gonna be my final thoughts on Cipher. First things first, 1460 is kind of crazy. Damn, I miss losing, guys. I genuinely just miss losing because, like, I don't know, man. It would feel nice to lose sometimes. You know what I'm saying?
20 minutes later.
1460, 2,891 USD. Oh my god, I can't even stand together, guys. I'm just gonna end this video here. There's no outro. Yep, okay, bye-bye. I don't know why did Cipher do it to my favorite Oilers account. She was quite nice to my account, right? She was pretty chill with my account, right? Got the 50-50, got the 75-25, but I don't really know why it's like, you know those cats? They're like, when they don't like someone, they're like and they're like fucking like snarl and like fucking like scratch and that stuff. You know, maybe it's just a vibe check, right? Maybe Cipher was sick and tired of Chat's vibes, right? She was sick and tired of Chat just constantly bitching like a bitch. So you know, it is what it is. But yep, with that out of the way, yep. Actual thoughts on Cyphers, I would say the performance. I would say that she still performs as a role to bridge version 2 into version 3. Alright, she is the glue for version 2 to approach a similar or at least a closer caliber of performance compared to the version 3 DPS. I like to use this, I guess, comparison. Like, for each different versions in Honkai Star Rail, I believe that as the versions goes by, in order to sort of like negate the whole issue of like power creep, HP inflation, just the stronger DPS team comps, the stronger supports, they are always gonna be better than the older version. I feel like in order to circumvent this issue, this is Cipher's purpose. Cipher was the glue that held together Amphorius, just like how she's sort of adding like the glue that brings forward the version 2 DPS on a more competitive scale with the version 3 DPS. Case in point, Cipher with, I would say, mainly Acheron and Phainon, they are gonna be at least on a slightly better position compared to, let's just say, for example, your E0S1 Acheron with a Pela Jiaoqiu. Alright, or your E0S1 Phainon with a, let's just say, Hanmark 7 and Babin, right? She can't fundamentally replace a best in slot for the old teams. Like, for example, Cipher can't really replace Babin and Phainon. Cipher technically don't really replace Jiaoqiu because they perform along the same caliber. And if you were to use both at the same time, so for in this case, Babin with Cipher, Jiaoqiu with Cipher, for Phainon and Acheron respectively, their performance tends to go up. Right, which is sort of like what her goal is, at least as of this current point in the meta game in Honkai Star Rail. For version 3, she also works, and to a certain extent, she is, like I mentioned, right, the fastest clearing DPS with the highest damage potential as of right now is, ironically or unironically, with Castoris. But that's not really because of Cipher. That's just simply because Castoris with 3B and higher scene is just an insanely powerful combination. So when you slap on Cipher into this mix where you basically remove RMC, you have yourself a true damage multiplier, vulnerability multiplier, as well as the res down multiplier with alongside a E0 3B. And then if you have even further vertical investments with, for example, a E1 3B, you get a 24% plus 24% true damage, right? Unfortunately, the patron stacks don't record true damage, but as a whole, that is still, till this day, the most synergistic and highest damaging team comp right now. Not saying that players should pull Cipher for Castoris. If anything, players should definitely consider pulling higher scene for Castoris before considering Cipher. But it is more so that her role right now does seem to be very, very wide, right? You can, as you guys have seen from our previous testing video, we have tested out with a lot of different DPS, spanning from version 1 Blade Agleia all the way through to version 3 Maide Herna, Ratio Scylla, Yunli, a lot of different potential variations, and none of them really went beyond 2 cycles. This is an exception because if you guys watch the video, you would know why this was a 3. But generally speaking, for most of these different DPSs, the performance has been quite okay, right? To be fair, this was against Mach 11 instead of Mach 12. I would like to see how this is going to continue in the next MOC 12. That is going to be against True Sting, right? True Sting's MOC 12, that is going to be quite fun. I fucking hate Pollux. I don't want to test with Pollux. But True Sting is sort of like a tried and tested, sort of like a benchmark in Mach 12. This time, coming back with an even higher health pool because, boo, inflation and all that, right? So the bugs are going to be tankier. True Storm is going to be tankier. He's going to summon the fucking War Armor and all that kind of stuff. So looking forward to how MOC 12 is going to be performing. So one of the clear impacted DPS, for example, Caceres. Caceres is definitely performing. I'm just gonna say straight up, if you expect your Caceres to deal the same performance in Pollux in any other MOC boss, you are gonna be in for a very rude awakening. Whether you pull for Hyacinth, whether you pull for whatever, you are definitely gonna have a more difficult time with any other MOC boss, right? So once this Pollux shilling period is over, Caceres mains will definitely feel the difference in their performance, at least from Memory of Chaos, right? So outside from that, I would say, if you are going to be going in with the intention of pulling Cipher to vertically invest into different team comps. So let's just say you want to vertically invest into your version 2, such as in this case, Fei Xiao. You want to vertically invest into, for example, Acheron, right? Your Acheron, your Fei Xiao, perhaps even like, I don't know, Jingyuan, right? Maybe DOT. Actually, we didn't test out DOT Cipher. It is what it is, right? Blado, right? You could consider her as a position for vertical investments, but I would say it is not a game-changing vertical investment. I would define game-changing vertical investments in contrast, for example, Jingyuan plus Sunday, game-changing. Jiao Qiu plus Acheron, game-changing. Fuke plus Firefly Rabba Boot Hill, game-changing. 3B, she's just game-changing for the entire game. Game-changing unit, right? A game-changing unit, right? Next up for D Herta, especially against single-target environments, such as in this case you have seen from before, Apoc Shadows with double Ice Rest, game-changing, right? And I feel that Cipher as a whole, she's not exactly game-changing for any specific unit aside from one, and that is pretty much Acheron. I think she is probably the biggest vertical investment you can consider for Acheron as of this point. But my only concern with this is if you want to pull the trigger right now and consider Cipher as a vertical investment, which definitely is, by the way, she is definitely going to be a vertical investment to Acheron without a shadow of a doubt. My only concern is just it always goes back to the Silver Wolf. It always goes back to Silver Wolf because I want to always take into consideration that players that have been playing this game since day one, or if you have pulled for a Silver Wolf rerun from back in the days, right? This unit has been with us for 2.5 years now, going into 3 years by next year, right? If you already have a Silver Wolf sitting in your corner, she's literally about to get buffed. So you can only really use like 2 Nihility anyways. Unless we run like, I don't know, triple Nihility Sustainless, which it might be a cook, right? It might be a cook, right? Cipher, Silver Wolf, Jiao Qiu. I'm looking forward when that actually happens. But general use case, if you have a Acheron and you have a Jiao Qiu and you have a Silver Wolf, especially a E0S1 Acheron user, right? E0S1, you really must think like, okay, are you gonna be certain that a Cipher can do a role that Silver Wolf, the post-buff Silver Wolf, better, or even if not better, at a considerable pace? Because Silver Wolf is a unit that you as a player already spend strategies on. You already invested 70, 80, 90, 100 pools for Silver Wolf. So if you really have that as a case, even if let's just say Cipher is better than post-buff Silver Wolf, you are still ultimately investing strategies for a brand new unit, which in the long run might not be the best bang for buck, right? Might not be the best. Alright, for example, a better bang for buck for a Acheron vertical investment might just be as simple as pulling the E2. This is a very, very direct vertical investment, especially if you know for a fact that you want to use Akron for like the rest of your life, right? You are certain that this is a DPS you're locked in with because she's Raiden May, you know, you love her so much. Pulling for direct vertical investments on the DPS islands is gonna be a more surefire way to make sure that, you know, this DPS will be in this team, right? Because Honkai style, you can only run 4 units anyways. You can't run like 5 units in ET Arena or whatever. So I would say at the end of the day, waiting to see what Sylph has to offer in the Akron aspect would be a better play. And all you guys have to do is just wait 1 more week. Like literally next week, we are getting the live stream, right? Next Friday, Holy Overworking. And then I'm going to be making 7 different early access guides. So that is going to be my 2 cents. And Cypher's banner only ends, I think, 2 weeks after anyways, right? So that is pretty much it. Beyond Akron, I don't foresee any game-changing investments as of this point for Cipher. Like I mentioned in the Before You Pull, she does feel a little bit like she got hit with the curse of Boot Hill. Right? She's in an extremely weird position where Caceres would have worked so much more synergistic with Hyacinth. Like Hyacinth is the definitive upgrade for Caceres, without a doubt, right? You are not comparing Cipher, like who is a better upgrade for Caceres, Cipher or Hyacinth? It's always Hyacinth, right? And then the better after Cipher is literally going to be Fate Collab. And Fate Collab, meta, not meta, if Saber is dog shit, if Saber is tier 0, whatever it's gonna be, is our first Fate Collab ever, right? First collab ever, period, in HSR. So between these 2 things, even if Cipher was gonna be considered an upgrade to your account, I don't see why you need Cipher right now anyways, right? Because next month is gonna be a crazy fucking period for Honkai Star. A lot of things are changing. 4 rework units, Phainon is coming out. Who knows, maybe you're sick and tired of Akron and you see what Phainon does, like, oh my god, I am done playing with Akron. I'm gonna invest in Phainon now. Because if that situation happens and you decide that, okay, I pull for Cipher, what if Cipher don't work as well with Phainon? It's honestly very, very hard to say. So that is why I feel that Cipher in this current predicament, she is right before something absolutely massive that's about to happen in HSR for, I would say, in the foreseeable future. I don't see any other more relevant banners, right? We don't really have exactly like a... I don't know if we're going to be getting a 3B situation anytime soon because we know Phainon is a DPS, Saber is a DPS, Archer is a DPS. So maybe if we were to see like another big support coming out in the future, that might be the case. But for now, in the entirety of version 3, we have been getting non-stop DPS banners. The only exception being basically 3B. Alright, 3B is sort of like the only one that you probably just, if you care about meta, you would have put for, right? If you care about meta, you would have put for 3B. So that is pretty much going to be how it works. I do want maybe a very, very niche scenario, right? Since we are going to be talking about a collab, a very, very niche scenario is if Cipher can work well with the Fate collab units. That would be quite interesting, right? Because as of this current roster of units we see right now, she's G, right? She's alright. She's definitely not the worst, but it's not like a game-changing unit for any of the units I've listed here, aside from Akron. So there might be a case where Cipher could work exceptionally well with Fate collab units. Because I don't think HOYO is like is a company that doesn't know what they're doing, right? Why would they release Cipher for her to only be in like the biggest vertical investment for Cipher right now is Akron, but I don't think they ever release a unit without thinking forward into the future. So if let's just say Cipher actually works extremely well with like one of the Fate collab units, I would say she does have a potential value for a pool there. Because at the end of the day, gacha game companies, they always want your money, right? I don't see any reason why they wouldn't implement some kind of FOMO mechanics to make players feel that, okay, Cipher is going to be an extremely powerful upgrade. For example, in this case, Fate Collab. Because at the end of the day, a banner is going to sell, right? They didn't dedicate the entirety of Enforce and the ending of Cipher just for Cipher to not sell. So there will definitely be a way in which to entice the players' FOMO to see, oh my god, actually Cipher is absolutely fucking insane with this specific unit and this specific unit only, right? To build up this niche, build up this demand to actually incentivize a Cipher pool, right? So that is pretty much going to be it for her performance and the pool value. Outside from those 2 things, I guess general speaking, I think the builds have pretty much been established. As long as you can hit the 170 speed, doesn't really matter what you run. Signature light cone, very, very comfortable. No signature light cone, completely fine with resolution. Slap on the 170 speed. A little bit less skill point positive, right? Because you actually need to use your skill more, because resolution buffs actually don't really stack as well as compared to the signature light cone. Other than that, still G. Item-wise, this is quite nice. This is quite nice. I would say actually since now we're talking about it, right? One big con, right? One very big con with Cipher is that she actually has very different outcomes, even if you were to use Cipher in the same team against different environments. Specifically with regards to the way the ultimate works. Because sometimes you actually find yourself wanting to let go of this ultimate immediately. Sometimes you find yourself, okay, shit, I need to run energy regeneration rope to slap on a second ultimate. Sometimes you want to actually hold on this ultimate. Like, you want to see if your DPS can deal enough damage to save the entirety of Cypher's ultimate for wave 1 and save it to wave 2. Then sometimes you need to decide, okay, do I let go of Cypher's ultimate right now to get rid of the boss phase 1, go into the boss phase 2, or do you just say, fuck it, I believe in my DPS? So, an excellent example, right? If let's say the boss appear in front of you, the boss is left with 20% HP. Do you believe that your Aircon ultimate can instantly kill a 20% HP boss? Or would you rather let Cipher let go of the accumulated 500,000, 600,000 true damage and kill the 20% HP boss? Because that is where you need to experiment and find out yourself if using Cipher's ultimate at that scenario would be the best case. Because this kind of stuff is honestly impossible to tell or display in a spreadsheet. It really just depends based on your game sense and how long you have been using Cipher with the team. You get a gauge of like when exactly is the best time to use the ultimate. Either to hold damage in wave 1, either to get yourself into phase 2, or just instantly let it go as far as possible to generate more debuff stacks. So in this case, it is sort of like a double-edged sword. I'm gonna park this as like a disadvantage, it's like a con, because I will feel that 90% of the casual player base in HSR, they don't give a fuck, right? They press one button and you just let it play by itself. And unfortunately, if you just simply let Cipher just chill there and do whatever she wants to do, you are definitely not utilizing Cipher to the fullest potential, right? So for example, if you actually let Cipher waste her ultimate on like a 20% HP boss, which you could have just gotten rid of with like a Jingyuan Lightning Lord or like a phase out ultimate, you could have dealt way more damage by pivoting it back into phase 2, right? So this is a very, very real concern, because I don't really want players, I hope that players don't get into a situation where, oh my god, I pull for Cipher because, you know, she's supposed to be insane, she's supposed to be changing for everything for Aircon, but when I just play with myself, you know, I don't really see if she changes anything, right? It's like I use Cipher with Jiao Qiu, or I use Jiao Qiu with tnbee, I'm still getting the exact same 2 cycle clear. Why, right? Then there is Cipher scam. So to just prevent yourself going to this whole rabbit hole of whether or not you have been using Cipher effectively, you might just want to just skip Cipher, like straight up, right? Because if you're going to be pulling for a unit, but you can't even maze of unit to its full potential, there really isn't any point, especially when Honkai Scenario is really not that deep of a game, right? It's a very chill little PvE side game. As long as you're able to clear the content as of where you are right now, you don't really have to force yourself to be like, oh my god, I want a maze of Cipher and use the entire kit to the fullest efficiency and knowing exactly when to use my ultimate so that I get the best performance, right? It's like, quite literally, it ain't that deep, right? And if you do want it to be that deep, you can go for it, but you definitely don't have to feel forced that, oh my god, Cipher is overrated or underrated. You know, she's so bad or she's so good, depending on your skill issue. You don't have to think about it that much, right? So really, at the end of the day, depending on how your account looks like and whether or not do you think she's worth gonna be, you know, dedicating the time to experimenting with exactly when to use the ultimate, I think that would be making a huge fucking difference for Cipher's value to your account, even if you were using the exact same team as another player, right? The exact same player A using an Aircon team with player B using an Aircon team, it could be the exact same Aircon, but one player might have gotten a way more experience with Cipher just simply because they know like how their Aircon damage output is gonna be, right? So very important, but that is pretty much it. My final thoughts for Cipher. What is the red dot exclamation? Oh, I'm saving E1 Sunday for one fine day. His true power will be unleashed. I've just been holding on to that one day. Initially, this was for Cassius, but I had my morals, so I didn't activate it, right? But in any case, this is gonna be my final thoughts for Cipher. In summary, she is a good unit, but not everyone needs this unit. She is a sub DPS / debuffer / support. Not someone that, not a unit that everyone needs, but you could deserve to have her, right? She is not a unit that you need, but you do deserve her, right? So I would end off this video over here. Let me know if you guys are going to be committing to Cipher. What do you think about Cipher's performance so far in all of your scenarios, in your team comps? Word of the day is going to be Batman. Join Twitch, join YouTube, join Discord, join Discord, join Twitter, join K. Use code BOGIE for 10% off gamer subs. Use code BOGIE for 10% off gamer subs. And I'll see you guys next time. Take care. Blah.